All right, as the dignitaries there are making their way inside, and a number of them, of course, reflecting on the friendships, the conversations, the guidance when it comes to various leadership roles that some of them occupy inside this particular auditorium. We do have with us the Minister in the Presidency, who's sitting with us here with my colleague Mzwai Mbeje. Mzwai, of course, as we bring the Minister into this conversation, we were talking about him, and that is the former Minister Pravin Gordhan being a stickler for process. And we heard even from the former SARS Commissioner saying that at some point he was made to run and make sure that the asset register is done so well that they do not get a qualified audit. And Minister, I wonder from your vantage point as a colleague at some point, are you able to share with us some of the moments that you would have shared with him behind closed doors?
So I had to extend my condolences to the family and his friends. So I used to call him Marume, which is uncle. So, but I wanted to get him. I thought it would be difficult, and I said, "You can't call me your niece. Muduhuru," and he got Muduhuru quick. But first of all, he was a pharmacist to the end. So you get sick, he'll say, "Oh, what is your prescription?" And I say, "But why would you want to know the prescription? The doctors will give you wrong thing. I'm the pharmacist." So one time I went and then I was taking the medication and he says, "That's the wrong combination. Let me see your script." And I'm going, "No, Marume, I don't have the script. I left it at the pharmacy." And he says, "No, call your doctor. Copy of the script." So I got a copy of the script. And he says, "No, Pressure, the daughter, is going to prescribe for you because this is not going to sort out your current problem quick enough." And so that's the relationship we had. And I would say something, I remember first time I was acting Minister of Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation after the late Comrade Jackson passed on. And I said something on the screen, he wasn't happy. So he called me and said, "At 7, we're going to have a call." Remember, it was during the COVID days, so it was me, EP, Sestoko Didiza, the speaker, and him on the call. And he said, "You must connect the dots. You could not, what you're saying does not connect the dots." And he'll share 5 articles to read, and he must explain. I said, "But I will not have time to read." He says, "And you expect to lead without reading?" So that's the conversation. So even, I will not take it to what he'll say at cabinet, but if you say something at cabinet, you would expect a call from him or a WhatsApp. If he's not happy at all, he'll say, "I thought you were one of the good ones. What happened to you?" "But what did I do? I just raised a different view." But he was, for me, he was there to guide. He raised his views and opinions very openly and very sharply. He didn't mind. And he tried to find a uniting point so that things could move forward. And he had a phrase that he liked very much to say, "Well, what you are saying, will that move the needle? Will that, meaning that will it change and bring something better?" And moving the needle, and it's the needle of a car. When it moves quicker. It doesn't move slow. So that's him. And it's one of the people we're going to miss. When he started not being well, we had conversations and he says, the doctors will sort it out. And I said, "Marume, you are shy. And then he laughed. He says, "I'll tell you the truth." And I was amazed that on his last days, he said, "This is it, I'm going," and he started to plan for his departure. I remember when I received the call that he's not well, and I called the president. The president says, "No, he spoke to him that morning and he told you what is the state of affairs." So for him, he didn't want things to happen by coincidence or by accident. He wanted things planned meticulously, including this funeral, who will speak, how things should run, and all those things. And he was very clear about making sure that he doesn't leave messes that you'll have to clean up. We were worried, with the official funeral, sometimes they get to be very expensive. But he was very clear that he doesn't need a very complicated things. He doesn't want somebody accounting for how his funeral done.
And that speaks a lot, of course, about the planning. And as you say, that even to the very last detail, he ensured that things were done. So when it comes then to the detail, let's talk about what can we expect as soon as the official program gets underway.
So is the official program Category 2 as declared by the president. The party will speak, the ANC, because it was very clear that he's an ANC man through and through. The Secretary General of the ANC will speak. Then you'll have the family portion, where the friends will also speak, his daughters will speak, and then you'll have the eulogy, and it's run by the police because of the category that it is in. And you saw when they came in, they came with the ANC flag. Even when he departed his home in Pretoria, the coffin was draped in an ANC flag. So it has to transition from the family party state to a state or official category, with the country's flag being draped and the police taking over, being the pallbearers in that setup. But we expect to be like him, that everything must run on time. He used not to like things running over. He'll be complaining, why are we sitting here? This thing should have been planned it to the time. I remember the other time I was cut on my speech in Parliament because I ran over the minutes. And from there on, he'll call, I saw you on the speaking list. Did you rehearse? Did you time yourself?
So did we time everything today, and when are we likely then to be wrapping up inside here for that private ceremony that's going to be his cremation? So did you plan everything to the T, and what time?
No, we planned everything to the T. I don't want to throw people under the bus. I'm not telling you what time it ends, because then you'll say I threw people under the bus. But I'm expecting that everybody who speaks, there is people who have related, who's on the program, it's people who have related to him. They know what the man was about. They know what he stood for. And also they knew his being a stickler for time, protocol, and preciseness. And he doesn't want people to, waffle and say, no, waffling, stop waffling, go straight to the point. So we expect that we should finish on time and allow the family the private cremation service. Thank you.
So is it still 2 p.m., possibly? I'm trying to get a time here.
Let me do this. Let me do this. Hey, now you see now that I'm truly blind. It should be 1:30.
1:30.
Yes, okay. 2 p.m. 1:30.
The minister has just put her neck on the block.
No. So if everybody overruns, you should know that PG is not happy.
And I hope his voice will ring in your ears when you are extending, as he would not be happy with that. But before we let you go, I'm sure you've seen the different reflections of his legacy. You've seen the mixed views from some. We had a conversation earlier with the SARS commissioner who was saying that there was no in-between with him. You either loved him or you hated, you didn't like him. You either loved his approach, you didn't like his approach. You're happy, unhappy. And that spoke volumes about his leadership and how he stood for what he believed in. There are people who did not like his style of leadership. And I wonder, from what you've seen out there, as a reflection on his legacy, what do you say, especially to those who are saying that, look at what happened with the SOEs, the billions that, also continued then to cost the fiscus, but also not steering the ship right, according to some?
So the man is not infallible. Like all of us, he was fallible. He has his flaws, but it's true, there was no gray. It is black or white. But it's very opportunistic to blame the weaknesses or the failings in the SOCs to the late Comrade Pravin. Because that problem did not happen overnight. It's a problem that took place over a long period of time, and he tried to reverse. And when it was assigned that role, he knew very well that it's not the reversal of that is not going to happen immediately. As we speak now, Dinelle has just registered a profit. And if you don't want to give him credit for that because you want to blame him for that, AXA has just, you understand, we can name a number of entities. ESCOM is now getting on the right path. And that work is not an overnight, and companies of that nature and that size, it's like a ship. You don't turn it around like a car where you can just veer and decide to turn immediately. It's a period that you built in. So part of the things that you are seeing now is the legacy, the progress and improvements, is the legacy of his work. He may not have done it the way other people liked, but he has gotten us there, and what we are left with is to build momentum. I don't expect people, in my language we say, and I will not say it in Chivenda because the translation, as I heard you speaking, so it's going to be difficult. In my language is that nobody will love you because you are not money. So he was not money, so we cannot all love him. So there will be those who love him, and there will be those who hate him. To even say dislike him, there will be those who hate him with a passion. But it doesn't take away from his contribution. It doesn't take away from the value that he has added. And it also doesn't take away from his own mistakes that he's made. And we live as human beings within that. As we send him to his final resting place and we thank him for the service he has given this country, both as a commissioner in SARS, for the struggle, the freedom that we enjoy. He was also part of those who contributed. We also must appreciate that any man will have his flaws, but are his flaws worth overlooking the immense contribution he made to this country, both for our freedom but also for the continued development of this country. It is, from where I'm sitting, his contribution, his positive contribution supersedes any of his flaws by far. The flaws pale in comparison to his contribution, and may his soul rest in peace, may his family and friends find comfort.
Minister, we'll let you go. Remember, you are on borrowed time, on a deadline. You did commit that there's a certain time at which the program will end. And as you say, he will not be happy if you overrun. So let's see.
The Madam Speaker is running the program. Let's see whether she sticks to the time. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for talking to us. And that is the Minister there in the Presidency, Khumbudzo Ntshavheni. And it speaks to the many, layers to the man that we now know as the former Minister, Pravin Gordhan. And you saw the family, and a lot of people are talking about his love for family and the fact that right now this is a family that he would have loved to spend a lot more time with, because he had announced his retirement, and certainly it must be a bittersweet moment for his wife and the daughters, because they were still hoping possibly to spend a lot more time with him. They borrowed him to South Africa to do as much as he needed to do for this nation.